Finding hidden treasures at garage sales and reselling them online for a profit is how I got started in my entrepreneurial journey about a decade ago. And when people come to me to start making money online, it's a place I usually recommend people to start with because it takes very little capital. And I'm not the only one to think this. Gary Vee has a whole series on his YouTube channel called Trash Talk, where he teaches people how to go to garage sales to resell for a profit. And he's not the only one. And today I sit down with someone I've been watching for years who does just that. And he's a YouTuber named Chase After the Right Price, and he runs an Amazon and eBay store where he buys things from Walmart, Facebook Marketplace, and garage sales. And the reason why I like Chase's channel so much is because he does such a great job balancing education and entertainment, and he's someone who's turned his passion into his full-time hobby, and he's someone who's created a job around his passion. So everyone, I hope you enjoy this interview as much as I did. Hey everyone, and welcome to today's video. Today I'm talking with Chase After the Right Price. Been watching you for years, man. So it's great to actually finally talk with you a second time. This is our second interview but we're going to make it even better than the first one.
That's right.
Go ahead and introduce yourself for all of us and a little bit more about what you do.
Well, hey guys, my name is Chase. I have a YouTube channel. I'm a full-time Amazon and eBay reseller, and the channel is primarily about how I run that business. Love going to garage sales. So we do a lot of garage sale videos, flea markets, thrift stores, video game stores. I primarily sell video games, Pokemon cards, sports cards, collectibles. I've been doing it since I was 8 years old and full-time for the last 5 years. So I absolutely love reselling, and I'm still doing it.
And that's awesome, man. And what would you say to, when I did this myself, I received a lot of pushback from people saying, hey, you can't do this. This is not feasible at all. I know that you even have a video on your channel. I think you talk about how you forewent a college degree to pursue this. And what would you say to that pushback and some of the results that you've had?
Yeah, so I would say that it's definitely possible. But it does take hard work. So I do have a bachelor's degree, and my wife and I discussed it kind of early on because it is kind of scary to jump into that full time, especially with, dependents and people counting on my income. So yeah, it's definitely possible, and the opportunities within reselling are endless. So I've got people that say, man, I hope you don't come to my area because you're just going to take all the stuff from garage sales, and I'm like, that's just silly because there's so much opportunity. Like, I only go thrifting or sailing 1 day a week. There's 6 other days that everybody else around me can go. So yeah, if you're willing to learn, if you're willing to put in the work, learn about various categories, I really think that anybody with the right work ethic can do it today, especially, 2022 as we're entering into that year.
Yeah. And I think that's, like you said, it definitely takes a lot of hard work. And to kind of backtrack, to let people, this is what I did to quit my job. Like, I went to college too, and I ended up leaving my corporate career. So it's definitely more than possible. What is, I would say, let's say someone wants to go to garage sales, but they don't even know how to start. Where do you find garage sales? Where do you how do you know what to buy? I feel like you probably get these questions a lot.
Yeah, I do, but I love these questions. I'm passionate about it. And so first thing I tell people, garage sales are a great place to start because you can find stuff for cheap with really, really good margins, and it's fun. So if you're from a smaller town, sometimes the newspaper can be good for the local ads, but primarily you're going to be looking at Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace. Those are the 2 big spots that people post garage sales. And the app that I like to use is Yard Sale Treasure Map. So that kind of pulls the garage sales and puts them all on a map so you can just kind of pin them and go to the next one. Stuff to look for, categories that are high demand, like video games, collectibles, electronics. Those are what I like to focus on. And at every single garage sale, I always ask, do you have any video games? And I list them out. If they say no, I say, do you have sports cards or Pokemon cards? And I list out what I'm looking for. And you'd be surprised at the people that say yes. It's probably 1 out of every 20 sales says yes, but sometimes it's the 90-year-old lady that had Christmas ornaments in her garage sale, and you just never know. So,
and I think that's awesome you say that. When I was going to garage sales, it was in 2017. I really didn't watch too many YouTube video channels on it at the time. But when I started working for myself, I'm like, actually, I moved to California. I'm like, okay, the market is way different here. And I remember watching one of your videos, and I already had done video games at that point. And I watched one of your videos, and I remember you said you were always asking, you even had a card, you had a business card.
Yeah.
And I asked at a garage sale, and I ended up getting this like $20 Super Nintendo game bundle score. So obviously just a score. Yeah. And it ended up being worth a couple $100, but it never would have happened if I didn't ask. And so I like how so once you establish maybe those bread and butter items, or like, you know what you're going for, then you start kind of plugging away like, hey, and do you have any connections? Like, after, do you get any of those people that hit you up again, or what is that like?
Yeah, I definitely do. Normally the repeat connections are, like businesses or like storage unit buyers or flea market vendors. So those are the ones that I really target with business cards. But if I'm able to actually make a purchase at the garage sale and then leave my business card, sometimes I'll even like pay more than what they're asking, especially if I can tell that they have more items, because I want to make that connection. I want to be their first call. And then it doesn't happen often, but it definitely does happen. And that's probably one of the biggest ways that I'm able to be successful in like that garage selling niche. Because a lot of people are like, man, I went out for hours and found nothing, and I'm like, well, did you ask at every sale? Did you get out early? Did you hustle hard? Did you make the connections? Did you pay up when possible? There's just so many things, but yeah, I mean, that's definitely a huge one, is making those local connections.
And what would you say is one of your bigger flips that you've had in your, over a decade or something like this doing it?
Yeah. So I've had some really big dollar flips, but I'll go into the, not my biggest dollar flip, but one of more interesting stories. So I went to a garage sale in Michigan, and the guy had some old Apple II vintage games, and it was on an ask. He pulled them out of the basement, and I'm like, I don't really know anything about them. Asked him how much he wanted, and he said $20. I said, sure. There were like 5 or 6 boxes. I'm going through, and you can see, like, I have a video of this. It's from years ago on my channel. I skip over one. I didn't even notice it. It's called the Calabeth World of Doom. And it's actually like, it's pretty widely considered one of the very first RPG games. It's made by the guy that made Ultima, which was one of the first big RPG games. And this was actually his high school project that was only sold locally in California at like a small shop. And this dude that I bought it from was moved here from California, turns out. I did some research, found a tweet from a British museum that said, they had a picture of the game, and they said, this is one of 5 copies in the world. We're proud owners of this game. So I found the 6th and sold it for $3,300 on bid on eBay. So that was pretty wild.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
I couldn't believe that one, man.
Can't make that story up. That is so cool. Yeah, $20 into 3,300, I would say, is a good day.
Yeah, it's a good day.
Yeah. And what's that? I mean, and you've been recording. How long have you been recording your garage sale finds before? For how long?
I've been recording for 5 years. Yeah, 5. Just finished season 5, so 5 years.
And when you're doing that, do you have like glasses, or do you have to like do a phone? I noticed you have like a whole team. Like, for anyone who has not seen his channel, like, you have your brother. You have like a whole squad. It's amazing. Seriously, like, you have Shane, the shameless negotiator. Love that guy.
The shameless negotiator.
Yeah. So what's that like, and how does that work? Yeah.
So primarily what we use is just a backpack, and then right here on the backpack is a GoPro Hero 9. So strap up with that, have that going, and then if there's something especially cool, we just kind of, whip out the phone, make sure it's horizontal, and get that shot. Usually people don't care about recording, and if they do ask, I just say, yeah, we're like the American Pickers of video games, so everybody knows the American Pickers.
And what would you say is for someone who just wants to get started, if you could go back in time and give yourself like one piece of advice, kind of a big question, what would that be?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's probably a multi, step answer, but the biggest thing that changed the game in my life with it was simply the use of a smartphone. So having unlimited data in a smartphone and being willing to go out and just look things up, just put in the work, get out there early, ask at every sale. It can lead to a full business. Like that's all it really takes to start. It's really simple, but it's not easy.
You're exactly right. Like I remember I would just be obsessed with looking up things. Like I would go into thrift stores and just garage sales for hours and literally just look up so much stuff. And you start to develop this eye, like where you can just like see a whole table and you can just like pick up on what's valuable. It's crazy. And people are like, oh, you have such a good eye. It's like, no, I've just looked up tens of thousands of things. That's pretty like, so that's really, really cool. Yeah, I think. And what apps do you use? You use the eBay app and then Amazon app, right?
Yep. So yeah, Amazon seller app, eBay app, those are definitely the primary two. And, since this is one of those jobs where you can forego your degree or whatever, I like to, one other just quick tip is buying your education at a garage sale. So if you see a big tote of like vintage 80s toys, you don't really know, but it's $20, just pay that $20 and you're invested. So you're going to do the research on those items when you're at home. And when you're doing that research, just remember for the next time you go out, oh, this random He-Man figure was worth $30 by itself. So if I see that again, I'm buying it. So I love buying your education in the categories you're not that familiar with.
That's amazing because I have heard you say that before where you just like, you end up doing that. And I think, didn't you do that with like some camera stuff where it's like, that's like, because now I know that for you, it seems like camera stuff is kind of like some bread and butter stuff for you. And didn't it start with, you're just like, you find a lot. It's, it's like pretty much you find one of those where it's like, I can't lose. Like, it's like, it's $20 for this whole tote or whatever. So like you said, I think that's an amazing way to look at it. This is education.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and if you ever see of 100 or more of something in one place and it's cheap, it's probably a good buy.
And what do you think, how important is it to go to garage sales early? Like to get there early?
It's essential. Yeah. I mean, and I would say target neighborhood sales. Don't necessarily target the ones that have the good stuff advertised because you're going to be there with 30 other people. But if you can hit the neighborhood sale where you can go to 20 sales in 20 minutes, you increase your odds that much. The more sales you can hit in a short amount of time, that's the bread and butter. And
I know that too, you go to town sales, and I know for a fact for me, town sales in the Midwest. Oh, what a sweet feeling. The best. Like, it's like you show up at like 5:30 or 6, roll in, you got your ones, your fives, your 10s, your 20s, make sure that, because the people in the morning, they never have change. They never have change. And they're just like, oh, let me get it. And then there you just wasted.
You're like, here's 10 ones.
Here's 10 ones. Here you go.
Then they love you.
Yep. And then you're like, you're set for the day. So like,
that's a great tip.
I just remember that for me, that was like a huge, it helped me out a ton. So you learn from
no doubt
error. But where can people find you at? Where are you at online? What's that like?
Yeah. So chase after the right price. I'm that on YouTube, eBay, Amazon, Instagram, Facebook. So pretty easy to find me. Just Google it. You'll find me. So yeah.
Appreciate it, man. I'm going to ask one more question. I'm going to have my video editor add this before the closeout is, what would you say to someone who wants to turn their passion into a full-time job, right? Like what are some caveats or things that you wish you knew before you went down that road?
I absolutely love that you can turn your passion into a full-time job. I think a common misconception is that you can turn your passion into a job and you don't really have to work. So my suggestion is know that you have to work hard. There's really no like just free money or crazy just things that don't require work. But if you're willing to put in the work, you can work doing what you love. Sometimes it's a grind, but man, getting to go to garage sales with your friends for a living is a dream come true. I recommend it if you're willing to put in the work.
Yeah, like you guys, like seriously, when you watch your videos, it's like these guys are just having a ton of fun, and it's like
Yeah,
you
man.
said, it's like those finds that you like. You know, that $20 flip into $3,300. It's like, yeah, that's like the surface level, but what was the work and how many hours did it take to get to that place where you knew to scoop that up and show up early and be in the right place at the right time? So I like that you're stressing the hard work for sure.
For sure.
All right, man. Well, thank you so much for just coming on the channel. I really appreciate it as always, and talk soon.
Dude, thanks for having me. It was an honor to be here.
Awesome.